Psalms 42:7 says, deep calleth unto deep. Now, that is a metaphor for spirit communicates with spirit. God's original desire was that we would be spiritual people. The man that he created, when God formed man, he originally formed man in his image and likeness. Then he put man in dirt. So God's original desire was that man would be spirit, the deep, just as Father God is spirit, the deep. Now, I say deep because, of course, they don't have physical properties. But if we were to try to put them in a physical kind of analogy, the Father would be possibly the deep because he is the Father, or kind of like a play upon word, the farthest, if you will. But nevertheless, the Father would be the deep. He'd be the farthest. Then it'd be the Spirit, or it'd be Christ in some sort of fashion. Nevertheless, when it comes to teachers and the Christian religious arena, a lot of people are drawing heavily on their soul. A lot of so-called teachers and expositors, you'll notice that they draw heavily on the soul, and they begin to argue and debate about the Bible's validity. They become apologetics and defenders for the Bible. And it's almost as if their faith hangs upon the written text. God never designed that. The Father never designed that we would be solely concentrated into the text. Paul says this verbatim. Apostle Paul says, the letter killeth. The letter, that would be the text, that would be the Torah, the Bible, etc. Apostle Paul says, the letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life. So when you're communicating with the deep, which is the spirit man, there's a knowing. There's simply a knowing. Yes, I'm not trying to disregard faith. True, we enter into salvation via faith. It's faith in which we embark and enter salvation. However, Jesus says, no man comes unto the Father except through me. So faith in Jesus Christ leads you to the Father. Or like I said, just no pun intended, the further. And as you come on to the Father, and as the Father embraces you and receives you, you have the spiritual communication of the deep. You have the knowing of the deep. God the Father is not somewhere trying to contemplate and think, and the Lord doesn't have to, ponder and ration. Now, none of that. God knows everything instinctively. It's instincts. It's instincts. The Father created everything, knew everything, created, fabricated the universe, all life, based upon a knowing. And when you get to the place of the knowing, to where you know, then you're not trying to utilize all of the heavy labor of the soul and the mind. The tarrying and the work comes from that little pea brain trying to understand God. This is where you get all these strange doctrines like oneness Pentecostal. In essence, oneness Pentecostal is a group of guys or some so-called leaders came to the conclusion that it doesn't make sense that God is three persons them taking it by faith, and by faith receiving it, and then faith will introduce them to the knowing, to where they will know the truth. Jesus said, you will know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So the ultimate goal is the knowing, not the thinking, not the deliberating, you see, not the reasoning. All of these elements came from the fall: reasoning, rationale, debating, counter-debating, on and on and on. These are all activities of the mind and the soul, whereas the spirit has a revelation of the truth. In other words, God didn't have to study chemistry when it came to creating water. He knew the very properties to make water. Jesus walked around here knowing the stars. See what I'm saying? Now, when you know God, man, you walk in a whole nother stratosphere, or you walk in a whole nother dimension, if you will. Let's get to the knowing.